Welcome to What's on My Mind. Today we're going to kind of touch briefly on the Annapolis, Maryland Capital Gazette shooting. Uh, wow. It's tragedy. It's very disheartening to hear that there was another mass shooting. And this is my personal opinion. I think a lot of these mass shootings are politically charged. I think that somebody is benefiting somewhere in Washington. I mean, prior to Barack Obama's presidency, there wasn't near as many mass shootings. He becomes president and he has more mass shootings in 8 years of his presidency than there has been in the entire history of the United States. So, I mean, that kind of throws a red flag to me, but that's neither here nor there. We're not going to discuss fully into some conspiracy crap that goes on through everybody's head, whatever. Um, so, kind of what I've read, I'm going to research more into it. There has been, this individual had previously filed a lawsuit against the Global Gazette for defamation of character. I really didn't read into what his claims or whatever was. Needless to say, obviously his claims were either BS or the court just kind of ignored it because the guy's crazy or whatever. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into the individual, and I might touch on it again. Post another video later because I'm not going to spend too much time touching on this subject because we all know this is a tragedy. It's a heinous act of violence that we as Americans should really not try to justify saying it was racially charged because, well, obviously most of the individuals that were killed were white by a white man, so let's leave the race card out of it, which it hasn't been. I've heard a lot of people pissing and moaning because the police didn't shoot and kill the guy, and they shoot and kill innocent individuals. Not all cops shoot and kill innocent individuals. They're not all bad people. There's actually more cops that are good than bad. The problem is you have areas like that are heavily gang ridden, that are not very racially diverse, but have a minority as the majority person, and so cops have to go in on guard, obviously for obvious reasons. Now, the realistic nature is if the police are beating your ass or doing something, chances are you tried to run or you did something to deserve it. Now, if they're just getting, and I'm not saying cops don't go out and abuse their power, because they do. There's a large amount, and it's kind of disgusting that of police officers that actually don't know the laws they're fully trying to enforce because they don't have much schooling or training into the laws that they try to enforce. So that's part of the issue. And there's ways to fix it. It's called education, but that's another subject for another day. Okay, just because he was white doesn't mean nothing. Absolutely nothing why he didn't get shot. He was found under a desk, weapon nearby, hiding from the police. That's why he didn't get shot. He didn't pose a threat to them. Had he had that gun in his hand and pointed it towards them police, he'd have had probably 50 bullet holes in him before he hit the ground. That's just how that would have worked. Police ain't going to kill somebody who ain't posing a threat to them. For the most part, I should say. So, a homegrown terrorist that's white. No, we could discuss. You want to talk about homegrown terrorists? Well, we got the Bloods, the Crips, the Northaniels, the Sithanios, the Tongan gangs, the Samoan gangs, the white gangs like the Italian mafias of the past, the Russian mafias, the Irish mafias. I mean, those are some white criminal organizations you can call terrorist. Realistically, every race in the United States has terrorists. Well, I want to get kind of push for a movement of let's end this race card bullshit. We're all Americans. the color of your skin don't matter. You're an American. If you were born here, you came here legally or whatever, and you obtained your citizenship, you're now an American. It don't matter your color of your skin. Let's get the race card off of job applications, this, that, and the other. I'm to the point now when I fill out a job application and ask the race, I put other and put American because I am an American. Color of my skin don't matter. The next person next to me could be black. They're still an American. It does not matter. So, and then I've also seen people blaming Trump, saying he's called for violence against the media. Well, I've yet to see that. I have not found a credible source saying that he's actually said that. All I've seen is a bunch of ignorant jackasses claiming this in a cesspool called the social media comment section. I've seen media sources in this situation like NBC, CBS, ABC, USA Today, all as Donald Trump is walking to his plane, calling him out, yelling and calling him names when he really hadn't even had a briefing on the actual shooting. He didn't have a chance to really address the situation. They just started yelling at him, well, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts? Well, give the man a chance to do his job and get briefed and get a full understanding of exactly what the hell happened before he makes a remark. I mean, obviously, we don't all have to agree with what our president does. I didn't agree with a lot of the things Barack Obama did. I didn't sit there and piss and moan and cry to everybody about it. I tried to go about my business. I lost jobs twice under Barack Obama's presidency due to layoffs because of things. And I'm not blaming Barack Obama one damn bit over it. I lost money in 2009 when he was elected. That's not his fault. He didn't cost me that money. It was the fallout of the oil and gas industry. It doesn't matter the presidency. Yes, you generally in that industry under a Democratic president, it does take a hit. But after you take a step back and that hit has come, and you look at the cycle, it's like 7 to 9 years that it's a roller coaster ride. If you work in the oil field, you might as well strap in for a roller coaster ride. So, I never seen one person blame Barack Obama for any of the mass shootings under his shit. We should not blame Donald Trump for the mass shootings under him. He did not have a hold of that gun. My guns have never killed anybody. Don't blame the guns. Blame the people. Now, I've also kind of heard, I'm going to look into this, I'm not fully on it, that this individual had actually been investigated by police and the DOJ. That would make 2 mass shootings where the individual that committed this heinous act had been investigated by the DOJ, the FBI, or the police in that area, and they grossly just ignored it. The Parkland shooting, the shooter had actually had his guns taken away, and they gave them back to his dad. The guns had been removed from the situation, and then they gave them back. So, realistically, who we need to blame on this is the DOJ. They need to take care of this situation, and they need to fix their problem. If you're investigating someone that is causing threats or doing things to eventually cause harm, the DOJ needs to take care of the situation. They need to quit giving the goddamn guns back. It is not their point. You have a right to own the guns, but if you are too damn crazy, unstable, or incompetent to own the guns and fire them and use them properly and safely, you don't need the damn guns. Now, that being said, criminals are going to obtain guns no matter what. They don't do it by illegal means. They don't care. They don't care if they get these guns illegally. There's shootings every day in crime-ridden areas that we don't hear about on the news. Constantly. Now, you live in smaller populous areas, you're going to hear about the shootings. You live in smaller populous states like Utah or Wyoming or anywhere that, you're going to hear about the shootings because, well, hell, there's nothing really too damn exciting that goes on in Utah in the news. So now you look at how many shootings per day there is in places like L.A., Chicago, New York, San Diego, Oakland, the larger areas, and it's a lot higher number. Uh, Places like Chicago with a very high, a very strict gun laws and places and things like that. They even have even higher rates than places with more liberal or loose gun laws to allow law-abiding citizens to own these guns and not have to walk this tightrope that Chicago has created. Well, I've been to Chicago. South Chicago, I have not been in. I hear it's worse than North Chicago. But when I was in boot camp, and then I went across the street, as they call it. I can't remember exactly how far it is. It's been a long time since I've been up there, but go across the street to the training base after boot camp. I'm only there 3 weeks. The first thing they tell us: don't walk off base by yourself. There are people out there that wait off the side of the space that will rob you just to practice robbing you. You ain't got to have a damn thing on you, and they'll rob you anyway. They'll steal your shoelaces to practice. So that being said, we need to possibly, I don't know, up the police force in those areas. But better yet, how about improve our education systems in those areas? Because I'm under a firm belief that knowledge is power, and the more knowledge that a person has, the easier it is for them to obtain a job, and the easier it is for them to become a successful, productive member of society. Now, everybody's going to have their qualms and they're always going to be criminals. Like, education's not going to stop the criminal enterprises. I mean, look at the big corporations like pharmaceuticals. I feel they're a bunch of criminals. But no, go figure it out. Go figure it out. Sorry about that. Anyway, there are criminals in all walks of life. There could be There's criminals in major corporations. There's criminals in the government, i.e., most of them, in my opinion. But hey, it's neither here nor there. We ain't gonna ever get past that one. There's criminals in the middle class. There's criminals in impoverished communities. There's criminals everywhere. Well, what I'm getting at is to lower our crime rate, first we got to address the situation into our impoverished communities, because that's where a lot of our higher crime rate areas are, is because they're in poverty. Well, you see an easy, fast way to make cash. You do it. I.e. robbing, selling drugs, doing whatever. That's an issue. So, essentially, what the U.S. government needs to do is take a step towards our education system instead of pissing our money away on or covering the asses of our senators because they do egregious things. There is hush money accounts all over the place in our government. We need to expose those. We need to get them out there. They exposed one with the sexual harassment case. Cool. That's BS. That ain't the only one. I don't believe that's the only one. It can't be the only one. Nobody's gonna just have one hush account. Shut up account. That's all they are. They're going to pay people off to shut the hell up. We need those accounts to be disappeared. That money could be put elsewhere into our education system and other things like that. We need to take the power to give themselves raises away from Congress. That needs to happen so we can put that money that they're giving themselves for doing nothing into our education system. Our education system and our youth is what we need to do. That's how we're going to stop these shootings, is by educating our youth. We as adults were essentially lost. We're done. We've done pissed our hope away. I'm not saying every adult's a bad person, whatever else, but the undereducation of what we've got is what we got. The U.S. is kind of behind the world on education. We need to step up our game. We're supposed to be the greatest country in the world, but if we're a bunch of dumb, ignorant jackasses, we can't be the greatest country in the world. So we kind of started out with the Annapolis shooting. I kind of went off different directions, and I do this. In closing, I want to kind of touch on this. Let's leave the race card out of the shooting. This was obviously a sick individual who went in there and committed this crime, and it's saddening. If you're a religious person, pray for their families, but if anything, just go ahead and keep them in your thoughts. If you see a way you can help the families out by donating, by or something to that effect, do it. If you are able to do it, do it. But if we're gonna sit here and blame them because it's a white man, that's wrong. If you're gonna throw the race card around, that's wrong. Obviously, there's a lot more to be investigated, a lot of things that need to come out before we can actually make a full-on accusations of what exactly happened. I believe there was a lot of things going on with this man in his head that should have been addressed and whatnot. And if and I'm going to look into this more, he was being investigated by the DOJ or the police of Annapolis or any of that stuff. Well, then we need to start looking into why they didn't continue on with this. Anyway, that being said, let's go out, spread some love, some kindness, make this world, this country a little better place. Well, y'all take her easy. If it's easy, take it twice. For all of you who don't know, there's more videos on my YouTube page that I'm not going to be posting to Facebook. Y'all take it easy. If it's easy, take it twice. And if it's fun, name it after me. Have a good one now.